I want to give you guys a scenario, and I want you to give me, your opinions on this scenario. But before I do so, let me do this. I got a song that we were talking about earlier this week, and I walked in the midst of a debate, and again, this is again me sharing with you guys my day today, right? I walked in the midst of a debate, and I thought it was a great conversation. Two music people were on two different sides of a conversation about one song. And usually a song is just supposed to mean one thing, right? It's supposed to be one message, but they were getting two different messages from the song. My question becomes, what is the message that you're getting from this song? And of course, it's a classic. It's something that we all know, right? 718-554-8598 is that number in studio. What is Bob Marley singing about? Please define this for me, right, as we go into the next segment of the show. 718-554-8598 is that number in studio. What is Bob Marley singing about? Please define the lyrics to this song. 718-554-85. And again, I want everybody to get involved because you guys know I'm always going somewhere with my conversations, right? We're always going somewhere big with the conversation. What is Bob talking about? What is the contents of the song? What does it mean? What does it not mean? I don't even want to share with you what the two virgins was arguing because then it might kind of corrupt your views of what the song means. I advise. I'm not even going to Sherry first. What?
Me?
Well, yeah. What are you getting from the Buffalo Soldier?
Well, I remember, and I'm unfortunately this memory is not like right there in my brain right now, but I remember the Buffalo Soldiers were African soldiers that were fighting in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember. They were soldiers that were fighting in the U.S., but they were from Africa or African descent.
So what is Bob talking about? Like, what is the words behind? What is the message in the song?
I think he's just singing about those soldiers. I think it's a song about those soldiers in the U.S. fighting for the U.S. The black soldiers, them.
Yeah, I think it's that fight for black resistance. It's like fight for our survival, as they say, for what our rights are that we weren't getting. So it was a whole, it was a whole movement.
Oh,
that's my concept of it without knowing if there was an actual historic. You understand?
Phone lines are ringing. I need to get more people involved because I'm taking this conversation somewhere. But you guys realize that we're debating the message of a Bob Marley song.
Yes.
That's not good. The message is supposed to be clear, right?
Well, yeah.
So we're debating the
But it's
message of a Bob
artistic.
Marley song. 718-554-8598. A popular song that everybody knows, but not all of us is getting the same message. Call you live. Talk to me. What's Bob talking about?
Chin. You might talk about this message about what I was saying. Just bring me come here as a slave. I was still have a fight in the war for them. I want to come back from the war. They still consider us as Buffalo. We still have slaves the same way,
So you're saying Bob is saying that we came here to fight for them, and after we fought in their war, they still turned around
consider us as slaves,
and still considered you a slave.
Yeah, slavery man, yeah.
Interesting. 718-554-8598 is that number in studio. I want to know what do you get from the song, right? It's a great conversation to have. I want you guys to engage. What are you getting from the song? What is Bob actually saying, right? Because I think based on what Bob is saying, we can also see how we understand certain things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Iron Voice says that it was what? The Buffalo Soldiers?
Yeah,
the soldiers that came from Africa.
Yeah, because I think, if I'm not mistaken...
Sherry says it was a movement.
From what I remember,
I don't know if there was a historic thing, and I do remember hearing something, but you hear the music, you're enjoying it, but you don't really listen and pay attention to it. Sometimes because you feel as if it doesn't impact you directly, but from what I do remember, it was an actual regiment or part of the army or whatever, and they fought for certain things. But I do know it was African people that came here, and they were fighting, not necessarily for their own war, but if he was talking conceptually, because he said coming from Africa, stolen from Africa, brought to America, fighting on arrival, fighting for survival. So I'm just thinking it could be a movement, because I don't know exactly, but
historically, I remember vaguely, school and but I think if I remember correctly, they were fighting the Indians, but I'm not sure exactly how it come. But they were fighting for the U.S. They were fighting for America at the time. The Buffalo Soldiers was a set of soldiers that were called the Buffalo Soldiers.
Call you live.
Hello?
Yes, I.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, you up now. The Buffalo Soldiers were not fighting for anything for themselves. They were actual soldiers that was trained. They were so vicious, right? That the white people used them to fight against the Indians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Indians.
All right? It was they were an elite set of soldiers. Yeah, you hear me?
Yes.
Right. So now that you're telling me what the Buffalo Soldiers, who the Buffalo Soldiers were, what is the message in Bob's song? Like, what is Bob actually saying in the song? I think I lost him.
Yeah.
And Bob also has a line in there where he says, if you know your history,
then you'll know where I'm coming from.
So you won't have to ask me,
who the hell
do I think I am? 718-554-8598. Phone lines are now blazing, right? You guys know anytime I come up with these strange questions, it's going to open up a Pandora's box of good conversation, right?
Yep.
Call you live.
Greetings, Chin. I am Boyce and Cherry.
Good evening.
Yo, good evening, good evening.
What's Bob
Chin.
talking about?
Bob is just simply retelling a historical fact. There's nothing to make up. There's no conjecture. The Buffalo Soldiers were a group of black men based in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, who fought in the Union Army during the Civil War. The term Buffalo Soldier was given to them by the Indians because the Indians said the black men's hair felt like buffalo hair. The texture of the black man's hair was similar to that of the texture of buffalo hair. So it was the Indians who called the black men Buffalo Soldiers. These men, some of them were freedmen, some of them were runaway slaves, some of them were slaves who were promised freedom if they fought on the side of the Union in the Civil War. Hence the term when Bob says stolen from Africa, brought to America. Some of them were, again, brought here as slaves. Some were freedmen, some were still enslaved, but they were fighting against the Confederacy for their freedom.
All right. 718-554-8598. I love it. The conversation has now started. Now, a lot of you are telling me who the Buffalo Soldier is, but you're not telling me what Bob is saying in the song, right? So I kind of want to get that out of you as well. And be patient with me. I'm taking you guys into a very big and useful conversation. 718-554-8598. Call you live.
Hello?
Yes.
Bob is talking about unadulterated slavery. We came here fighting and we're fighting for our survival. That's it.
Bob is talking about slavery and we continue fighting for our survival.
Exactly.
All right, 718-554-8598. I love my Soundchat listeners, them, you know. Call it live.
Chin, you say good poetry. Good poetry has, you leave room there for interpretation. That's what I like about Bob Marley.
Give me your interpretation.
My interpretation of this is Bob Marley is saying to the Buffalo Soldiers, look at you fools. You are not willing to fight for your freedom in Africa. You was taken and forced to come over here in America. And when you arrive in America, you have to fight for your own survival. But yet still you're out there, fighting for America. And if you know your history and if you know how you was brought over here, you would realize that, hey, listen, you have to fight for yourself. You can't fight for America because you're over here fighting for America. Who do you think you are? You're nobody. Fight for yourself and stop fighting for America. That's what I get from it.
You can't fight for America. That's what I got out of what you just said. 718-554-8598. Call you live.
Yeah, Chin.
Yes.
Bob was a summary of the plight of a black man from Africa to come into America. And, you know what I'm saying? We having the struggle of still a fight for rights all these years. So him just give we it's a story matter with.
It's a story material where they apply to a black man from the day when them take it from Africa, we come to America, on the slave plantation, get freedom. You still don't have freedom, and you have fight for your rights up to today. So it's a story material way.
All right.
Understand? It's a story, Bridget. That's it.
718-554-8598. Let me ask you guys a question. How do you feel? What are your thoughts? And look at the phone lines blazing already. Let me just, do the right thing when the phone lines start to ring.
Phone line them up, burn up, cause Soundchat turn up.
Here's what I want to ask you guys. And this is why I started off with the Bob Marley song, right? Buffalo Soldier. It has a lot to do with the way we view being in the military, right? As Caribbean people. Some of you got one message, some of you got another message, but the overall message growing up as a youngster, for most of us, right? We have these conceptions, whether you want to call them conceptions or misconceptions of the military, right? I want to present a conversation to you guys, and I want you guys to tell me, what would you do? How would you advise? And then I'm going to take it to another level, right? So I recently had a conversation with a family of Soundchat radio listeners, right? And the conversation sparked the discussion that I want to have right now, right? A youngster graduated from high school, top of his class. Listen, youngster graduates from high school at the top of his class, right? After graduating, the young man comes from a Caribbean family. I won't even say what Caribbean island because it might, change the scope. The man comes from a Caribbean family. A young man comes from a Caribbean family, just graduated top of his class from high school. His family wants him to go to college. The youngster wants to go to the military, wants to go to the army. Because of the family coming from the Caribbean and having their own reservations with what the army is, they don't want him to go to the army. They want him to go to college and then go on to a professional life. 718-554-8598. Whose side do you take? Is the family right? Should the boy be able to do whatever he wants to do? Right? Family's argument is that they've paid for this kid to go to top high school, right? And now instead of sticking to the plan of what they have sketched for him, his life, he now wants to go into the army, right? 718-554-8598. I want to hear from all Caribbean households. What would you do if you were in the position of these parents? Would you allow the kid to go to the army willingly? Nowadays, we can't stop the pity them, But would you allow them to go willingly, or would you kind of not want them to go? Sherry, be honest with me.
You know what? I'm going to be, I'm one of those typical Jamaican people. I'm going to say Jamaican people who, you know what? I think it may be because you're scared of the safety of your family members that we tend to dissuade our young people from. However, you do have some who will say, listen, there are a lot of opportunities, especially if you can't afford college, you can actually go in the army and do so. But don't go too long. Don't stay too long.
He can go, he can afford college. Family's willing to pay for college, but the kid wants to go to the army. Now, one of the things, I see the phone lines blazing, one of the things that we have to also understand, in the time that we're living in, a lot of the kids are coming out of high school and don't want to go to college.
Yeah.
Not many kids, like before when we had to follow that routine that high school done, you finish 12th grade, you get that summer, right? And when the summer done, go on to college. That's how we grew up. And if you were doing anything other than that, it's kind of like people looking at you like, oh, you ain't go to college yet? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it's different now. A lot of the kids don't want to go to college, right? Yeah. 718-554-8598. I want you guys to stick to the script, and then I'm going to, show you where I'm going with this conversation. What would you do, right, if your child, after you financing them to go to school, decided that they wouldn't go ahead with the plan and they wanted to go to the military? Would you be against it or would you be for it? I'm not asking you if you would stop them, because nowadays you can't stop them. But what would your feelings be? Would you be okay with that or would you not be? Caller, you're live.
Am I on?
Yes, you are. Would you be okay or would you not be okay?
I would like to respond to the question, but the Buffalo Soldier issue has not been resolved.
We are gone from Buffalo Soldier now. I want you to be right here. We're in the middle of halfway tree, right under the clock.
All right, so you don't want to know the truth about Buffalo Soldier?
Yes, yes.
All right.
I want to know what you would do as a parent if you and your wife sketched out this plan for your son and you sent him to a prestigious high school and now he's supposed to be off to a prestigious college, but he says no, he wants to go to the army. What do you do?
If he's a black kid, my son, I would not approve of it because I don't believe any black man, woman, or child should serve in the U.S. military because it is an oppressive system. It's an oppressed people being put into a military system to go throughout the world to oppress people of color. And that is what this empire is all about. So no, I would not...
and this has to be the elder, right? Elder.
Yes.
Elder. So you are saying no black man should be in the army?
I don't agree with it.
You don't agree with it?
It is not for us other people and oppressed people to join a military that is being sent out throughout the world. You know, the United States have over 800 military bases and installations in foreign countries, and a lot of that is on the African continent, our ancestral homeland. So when they deploy those troops overseas, who are they going to kill? Not white people. They're going to kill black people and the people of color.
All right, stick up in, Elder.
And that is what Bob was trying to tell us.
Stick up in, Elder. Don't go nowhere. No, stay locked in. 718-554-8598. Phone line them up, burn up, cause Soundchat what?
You know
Call you live. Calling you live. Are you would you allow your child to go or would you be against it?
Chin, good night, Animal.
Good night, Papa.
Good night, boss.
Going in the army better off.
Going in the army better off. Why?
Yeah, you have more experience.
More experience.
And you have more experience in the world.
Okay.
While elderly tax, that's bullshit because in the army, appear when white people go battlefront. So what elderly tax is that bullshit.
All right, 718-554-8598. Call you live. Call you live.
I prefer that guy goes to college. I prefer that.
All right. Why do you prefer that he goes to college?
When he acquires an academic inclination, he's more likely to be able to reach some level of access or success, having achieved some level of education that will allow him to.
Okay.
I definitely prefer that in the military.
Okay. 718-554-8598. I told you guys that I'm going somewhere with a conversation. Call you live.
Jim,
yes.
This lady,
Yo.
Now, I was a little annoyed with the elder just now, but let me go back again. So, I went into the military. My cousin went into the military. He retired after 17 years at 46 years old. Full benefits, everything, house, everything, college, everything. I did the same thing. I didn't retire, but I got out because I realized it wasn't for me. Now, if I live in America and you come to bomb America, I'm going to shoot you for America. And I'm a black man. Now, the elder said, but this whole 800 bases, most of them in the African country, that's a total misinformation. That is not true whatsoever. Get your facts straight, elder. Now, I was a kid growing up listening to my reggae music and listening to the consciousness and everything, and black men should be in the military and all this other stuff. And yes, there's a lot of racism in the military. There's a lot of sexism in the military. Yes, there's a lot of opportunity in the military. As a matter of fact, I've had a proposal to send to President Obama at the time to have every student after high school serve 2 years in the military, either in a combative form or some kind of service, because I felt it was a necessary good. Because for a kid who came from Paterson, New Jersey, who lived in the height of the crack epidemic, and there's other, say for now, the white friends that I have who came from poor parts of America who had no opportunity, the military gave us a perspective on what life is about, give us a direction of which we shouldn't go.
So the military helped you then?
Absolutely. I bought my home.
All right, so
I was in the military.
So
all these other things.
Stick a pin, right? So if your child based on what you experienced, if you were in the position of these parents, would you want your child, would you allow him to go to the military?
I've encouraged all of my 30 nieces and nephews who are of age, if they couldn't figure out the direction where they wanted to go, try the military. Now, I didn't say go to the Marines because they teach you how to kill, but they don't teach you how to turn it off. Drew will tell you that.
All right. 718-554-8598. Call you live.
So, Chin.
Yes, talk to me.
I don't have to give you a hypothetical, okay? This is my experience. At 8 years old, my son looked at me and my son sat down and we watched the Bin Laden raid, right? And when we were done, my 8-year-old son turned to me and said, Dad, I know what I want to do when I grow up. I said, what, son? He said, I want to be a United States Navy SEAL. Yo, when I you tell you that, what you going to do?
So you didn't fight him
So
at all?
you know what I did? No, how can I? I mean, when a kid tells you that, when a kid looks at you at 8 years old, Chin, and tells you that, you have to take him seriously. No, it's not, it wouldn't be my choice for him. And my wife was scared, but we were like, look, if this was that this kid wants to do at 8 years old, what kid at 8 years old said they want to be a United States Navy SEAL? Just the training alone, people die from the training. So you know he's now a freshman in high school, in college, right? You know what I did his senior year? Help him fill out his application to the United States Naval Academy. He did not get into the Naval Academy, but he's still undeterred because he wants to go the ROTC route because he still wants to do this. So, I mean, we can't stand in our kids' way because if you try to fight somebody where they feel like that's a calling on their life, it's going to be an uphill battle and it's a losing battle. And I want to have a good relationship. I want to continue to have a good relationship with my son.
All right. 718-554-8598. The phone lines are blazing up. I want to continue the conversation and introduce some more to the conversation. 718-554-8598. Call you live. And again, I want you guys to speak from the gut, right? If your pitney come home and tell the same one go army or she wants to go to the army because it's not restricted to just the boys, right? Would you be in favor of that or would you be like, hell no? Call you live.
I had a friend that joined the Army to get like a scholarship to go to college. And after he came back from his tour in the Middle East, he had PTSD and couldn't even focus in college. It was terrible.
So therefore, you wouldn't send your child?
No, because, I mean, it was just terrible. He came back from war and was having a really hard time and enrolled in college, and it was just a waste, you know?
All right. 718-554-8598. One of the things that we got to admit, coming from the Caribbean, right? There's this cloud, and I don't really know how to define it with words, but there's this cloud that is very anti-U.S. military. You know what I mean? Most traditional Caribbean people just are kind of like the elder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I may not have the same, put the same words together as he did.
Not so much passion.
Right? But a lot of them would say that they don't want their child to go to the military. And I think that a lot of this is said without understanding both sides.
Yeah.
It's kind of like because I remember growing up, right? And even with my parents, I know that they used to tell me, well, I will never get drafted to the Army. And I don't know if it's true or not, but this gave me a lot of hope, right? I would never get drafted to the Army because I'm the only boy, right? Oh. Now, that's not something as a kid that you go out to find out. You know what I mean? That's something that older people going to tell you. So, yeah, my one son can't go to the Army because he's my one son. So it's saying that to say that we as Caribbean people, we do grow up with this whole don't go to America and join the Army and fight fight the white man's fight. Because that's basically what we look at it as, the white man's fight, right? I have some guests in studio tonight. And the reason why I didn't tell you guys that I have some guests in studio because I wanted you guys to talk from the gut. because it sets the tone for the conversation. And when I introduce them, I want you guys to keep that same energy, right? Because they are here to give you another side of the conversation, right? But they also acknowledge the side that you live on of the conversation. And guess what? They're all Caribbean, correct? Everybody is from the Caribbean, and they're black.
What else are they?
I mean, I just wanted to say that, right?
Okay.
Turn up your radios loud, people. We got big conversations coming on, big guests in the building, right? We have some visitors from the military here, and we're going to have that conversation. Why not? I think this is going to be a great conversation, though. Let me make sure everybody's microphone is on, right? And again, I really, 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 really wanted to kind of tackle this whole understanding or lack of understanding when it comes to the military and Caribbean households, or people who are brought up, in Caribbean families, right? Please introduce yourselves, people, and let everyone know their ranks.
CSM Betty, Gregory Betty. I'm CSM for the 88th Readiness Division out in Fort McCoy and in Fort Snelling. With me, I have CSM Dar and Sergeant First Class Listenberger. Right. I'm going to have them tell their story. What we want to do is we want to get our stories out and just tell our story and how we got to where we are and things that we do and I put out some information. I love the way Gary introduced us, brought us into to Buffalo Soldier. We had a little thing going to see what song it would be. I got it wrong, but also on the Bob Marley side, there's also a song where he says there's so much trouble in the world right now.
Right.
Right. So with that said, you need us. You need the military, and we need you. So we're gonna go through. We heard some of the comments, and he set it up really nice. That so you spoke from the gut, like he said, right? And you told your truths. So we heard your truths, and we get it. Everyone has their own truth, but we're gonna tell you facts.
Where in the Caribbean are you from?
I'm from Jamaica. I'm born in Kingston, Jamaica. Grew up. I came here at age 11. In 1982, we came here. I was going to Jamaica High School. I guess live in Jamaica, Queens. I guess it made it easy for me to spell where I came from. So everything was cool. So got here. My story getting in the Army. I was home. The phone rang. They wanted my bigger brother Andre. Right. Everybody knows. The recruiter. Like the sergeant next to me. She's a recruiter. She's retention. Mm-hmm. And asked me, what's your plans? Asking me for my brother. I said, no, this is Greg. So we went into the story where he pulled me and asked me the questions, and I took the bait and joined the Army and never looked back. One of the greatest decisions I made from that point to now, and we'll get into some of that.
How long have you been in the Army?
I've been in the Army for 34 years.
Wow.
Right, 34 years, since age 17.
Wow.
Right.
17.
I joined in high school, Jamaica High School. I joined, I was chasing after a girl. Mm-hmm. Couldn't get the girl. She was a college girl. So I couldn't become a college man, so I became an Army man. Mm-hmm. End of the story. We married.
Same girl.
Right? Same girl. So story come to bomb, as they would say. So that's that. But bigger than all of that, the experience being in the military is overwhelming. And we're going to get into some of that. I don't want to steal the spotlight because we have two other soldiers here that have their story and their reasons why. And I'm sure, Gary, you got some questions that's going to...
Explain you guys' ranks, right? Because at the same time, I don't want the people who are listening to feel like it's just some regular members of the Army that we're speaking of, right? Mm-hmm. I think that people will get a better perspective of what you guys are speaking about when they understand what your success has been throughout your journey in the Army. So go ahead.
I'm a sergeant first class, CSM Betty, and CSM Dar. They outrank me, so they're our senior leaders in the Army organization. We have a rank structure. If you can kind of picture CEOs of sorts in a company, a civilian company, that's kind of how high up they are. They're very high up there. I've been in for 18 years now. I'm going on 19 years, but I'm trying to make my way up there too. So I still got some time, but I'm also considered a senior non-commissioned officer, a senior NCO. But, you know, with time and commitment, that's kind of what you do. You move up in the ranks as long as you do the best that you can.
Are you from the Caribbean as well?
I'm Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I said well
Yeah,
yeah,
Caribbean.
Islands.
It's all Caribbean.
Saying Caribbean, yes. And you've been in for 18 years,
Yes.
right? And what has been your experience so far?
The Army has been such a blessing in my life. They've paid for my college. They're paying for my master's degree right now. There's a lot of financial security and stability with the Army, and also with benefits. You know, TRICARE with healthcare. That's one of the biggest factors of why people, you know, stay in, other than the obvious, you know, just wanting to be committed to something bigger than yourself. But the TRICARE, it's a very cheap. You can have as many kids as you want, and it still remains a certain price. So like $230 a month, you know, and you can be a family with 5-6 kids, and it doesn't change, you know. So there's a lot of like benefits to the military that, you know, really help with the security and stability of the
What
family.
I want to accomplish tonight is I want to be able to have two sides of the story.
Yes.
So I want, of course, you guys to present the side that you've experienced, and then I also want the callers to call in and present the side that they live. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they haven't experienced the Army, but they have some of them has their pros and cons of why they want to be or not want to be part of the Army structure. How long have you been in the Army?
Evening. I've been in the Army now 30 years.
30 years.
Yep.
And your rank?
I'm a Command Sergeant Major E9, and I'm from Georgetown, Guyana.
Guyanese.
In the house.
Tell me a little bit of your story.
So, growing up in the Guyanese household, our parents want one thing, work, right? So, in high school, I was thinking about what's next for me, right? So, to fulfill not my dreams of my parents, but for my aspirations of what my father wanted me to do was get a job. So, I met up with a recruiter, and the day that I graduated high school, the next morning I shipped out to the Army. And I told my parents, guess what? I got a job.
Wow.
And from there on, there was no looking back. I worked, and got to where I am today. No looking back at all. And I loved every day of it. Every day.
718-554-8598. 3 members of the military sitting in studio with us, and they're from the Caribbean, right? And I want to use the conversation to challenge whatever conceptions or misconceptions we have about the Army, right? This is the time that you guys could even call in and ask questions that I probably couldn't answer if these people weren't in the studio with me, right? So call in, ask your questions, lay it on the line. Why would you never send your child to the Army? Because such and such, right? Or, you know, for those of you who said that you would, call us up and let us know, you know, what you're thinking. I know that Officer Betty has a lot to speak about, right? Where do you want to start the conversation?
All right, first thing, you can't call me officer. You gotta call me. I'm an enlisted.
Okay, so
I'm an enlisted man.
You guys have to tell me.
Right, we're
right
all,
because we I guess we would be considered civilians.
We're definitely civilians.
Right?
Yeah,
We're civilians, and we don't know protocols, right? When we see the police, no matter if they're sergeant, whatever we say, that's the
Officer,
police,
the
right?
police, yeah, man.
Right. So it's the same thing with us. So you guys got to correct us, all right?
We are all enlisted members. We enlist, and we're not commissioned officers. And like Sergeant First Class was saying, Sergeant Major Dar and I, we're at the senior most level. I'm at the 2-star level, and he's at the 1-star level. There's only 3 stars in the Army Reserve. So we're at those levels where we come out, we want to do community engagements and let people know the things that we do and what we have done to get to this point and what's available for everyone. It's not just for a citizen, or it's not just for whites. So it's not just, it's for everybody. It's encompassing everybody. So we want the questions. We want you to ask the question, and we'll give you the honest truth. If we don't have the answers, we'll get back to you. We're not going to hide anything. We're going to put it all on.
Well, the phones are ringing now, and again, I think you may have to ask or tell the callers how to address you, because they may be just as unfamiliar as I am. But the phones are ringing, and let's do this. Caller, you're live.
Hi there. Good night. I don't have a question. I wanted to make a comment when I tried to call before about if I would or would not send my child. It's two parts to it. One thing that a lot of people, especially West Indian, don't know is that that same profession that you wanted your child to go to college to pay a lot of money for, you get it for free in the military. They taught they have so much different levels. Like just about every profession that you can think of is in the military. The only thing is there is that stigmatism, and it's there. The racism, yes, and a lot of things that the whites may be better exposed to or more informed is like the blacks have to really figure it out or figure their way out. But the military offers a lot, every profession you can think of that you would go spend all that money in college, you do get that in the military. I'm a nurse. So the negative part of it now, when I say, just not send my child, you do see those ones that fall on hard times. The PTSD, all kinds of different things that it does also come with, but it's not everyone.
All right. Yeah. We have, some great phone calls coming in, and this should be a great conversation. In fact, it will be a great conversation because those of you who are listening to Soundchat, I know you guys love a constructive conversation, right? And this is a very constructive one because guess what? After this conversation, you may change the side of the fence that you're on, right? You may want to send your child to the military, right? 718-554-8598 is that number in studio. And again, I'm not trying to get you guys to sway the military way. I'm trying to get you guys to be open. Here it is that we have members of our Caribbean community here that will answer your questions about the military. So instead of you guys in the corner complaining about things that you really don't know, whether you're complaining about the right thing or the wrong thing, now you can call and ask the questions. Caller, you're live.
Yes, greetings, Soundchat.
Greetings.
And respect to all of the military. I don't know.
Get it right.
Yes, but what I want to say, Chin, I'm not here to cast no judgment, but I don't believe that necessarily. And Chin, I beg you, give me some time. If if you are in the military and you are successful as a black man, I can understand individual success still, but not because you have success and you are come on Soundchat and attack. Maybe you're there to brainwash the people them too. You understand? And I'm not saying that any of you are here for that. But I'm saying you guys are in the military. Are you guys think it's on you guys to try to make this country better if it's easy with racism? And I understand the job that you guys have because we still see George Floyd and then people, and we see the power that Donald Trump have. So we know say there's a lot of us here in America, but basically about 60 million black people in America. But at the same time, we still, it's not a level playing field. So I want to know how you guys feel about that because I think that is one of the major problems that black people have. And I know you can go there and go buy a house, but we are still here. Like Muhammad Ali went and threw away his medal because when he come back to America, he still he get sentenced for not going the war. But when he come back as he went to the Olympic and then he came back and he still was after me live like a so-called nigga. You understand? So how do you guys feel?
Your question then would be, even though they represent some form of success in the military, right? What do they feel about what the military stands for? Is that what you're saying? On a broader scale? On a broader scale?
Just the whole America, because the problem that I believe that most black people have is fighting for a country that they're not even on a level playing field, and we have to suffer so much from then until now.
Okay, I get you. 718.
That's the problem that we have.
554-8598. So he, is basically saying that even though you guys are successful in the military, how do you feel that despite your success, you're still looked upon as a black person or a minority person and you're powerless?
Well, Chin. We're not powerless at all. Like I said, I'm a 2-star CSM, and we all are senior NCOs. As a black person, the Army is big on diversity. Right, we're big on diversity, and we make sure that everyone is included. All opportunity is not. There's not a job for a white soldier, a black soldier, Chinese soldier, Spanish soldier. The job is equal. If you compete, and you make it, we do what's called talent management. And if you fit the bill and you make all the categories of that talent, you will get the job. And it's up to you to be aggressive, to get your education up, to get your schooling up, from your civilian education to your military education and everything else, and stay within the proper military regiment. You will get promoted and get your schooling done and everything else. You will get promoted. There are no special treatments or things like that. So I hear what the gentleman is saying. Was it, we started out the segment with Buffalo Soldiers, and we're talking about the black soldiers did this. Yes, we have migrated from that to a place now where it's equal. It's getting equal. If you look at any org chart in the military, you will see it's not just white folks that's running the military. Mm-hmm. It's a diverse group that represents the population in the military, the population of the country. It's not just that. Sorry, Dar, you want to add anything?
Yeah, so when we look at leaders in the Army, we look at just that, leaders. Leaders are not built off the color of your skin. Your education is better because I'm a Guyanese or you're a Trinidadian, whatever it may be. We do something now with promotion systems when we look at redacted packets. And redacted packets doesn't give your origin, doesn't give your race. That's all blacked out. Mm-hmm. We look at based off qualifications. Yep. So when we manage our organizations, 2-star CSM and 1-star CSM, organizations with thousands of people, I don't favor Guyanese. Mm-hmm. Doesn't favor Jamaicans. We promote leaders in the Army. Big initiative now in the Army, people, right? We look at people first, what we do in the Army. So to the individual's question, if it feels like if it's a struggle, we don't look at it that way. Mm-hmm. We look at one way, soldiers. Make sense?
718-554-8598. Great conversation. Call you live.
Good evening, Mr. Chin and family.
Good evening, Mama.
Good evening, Mama.
And the 2 soldiers that are there,
it's
my
actually
heart goes
3.
out to them. But let me tell you something. Years ago, when I used to drop people's sons, my 2 sons was dropped, and I tell them, man, don't call back my house. Because I have seen so many things happen to people, especially black people in the Army, and nobody can tell you why. They go there and decide it's this country that doesn't give a high order about them, period. I would my son a car when he tells me that they can get hurt on the street. I tell him I'll take my chances. And they're grown now, married and have their family, have a good job. That is good. My kids would go to school, not to their Army. Okay, my heart goes out to people because I would never forget 1972 when the Korean War was finished. And I saw men on the TV without legs and foot, and they get nothing. A lot of them in the hospital. And thanks to Obama, when he comes in, he's the one that takes care of that place. Okay? You want to go in the Army, it's your choice. But I wasn't sending my 2 sons. No, I'm not doing it.
All right, 718-554-8598. I want to make the phone lines be extremely active tonight. We have members of the military in studio, and it's great conversation because, again, I know some of you have your views about joining the armed forces, and some of them may be real, some of them may not be real, right? So here's where we kind of hash it out, put everything on the table. So I don't want anybody to call and sugarcoat their views, right? If you're for it, you're for it. If you're against it, you're against it. Everybody in this room we're big people, and we're ready for the tough conversation. Call you live.
Yeah. Good evening, panel.
Good evening.
My view of black people in the military is same because they put in blackface in U.S. imperialism. That's what it boils down to.
Explain.
No, yeah, the defense minister is now a black person. They sent the ambassador over to Africa. They threatening Africa to if you don't bow out to what we say, we're gonna block food imports. So that if you don't fall in line against Russia, you don't do this. They're just putting a black face in U.S. imperialism because they know the next side of the world is in Africa. Yes, and you're putting black people in military and diplomatically because that's the next battle. You understand? And as far as I'm concerned, they're what Malcolm Maladation. Tell them repeat. And so they just put a black face in just imperialism. That's what it is. Indeed.
All right, putting blackface in front of
imperialism.
Imperialism. Yeah. Call you live.
Yeah, the whole point is that my first experience with coming in contact with someone from the military, he was in a casket on the island of Jamaica. He went to the same high school I went to. He came back in a casket. The next thing is that I have a brother who worked for a cargo airline back in the Vietnam War, and he had to deal with a lot of caskets coming back. And a very large number of them were our people, black people. So I am very afraid of the circumstances prevailing then.
All right. 718-554-8598. Call you live.
Something about us. Anthony B said everybody want to raid the farm, but nobody want to plant the corn. Me don't want nobody come talk about Africa. Brethren, this is not to do with Africa. All of we over here so a Caribbean people, all of we have papers. And when we are going, what we do? Christmas time, we take up ourselves and we got Jamaica, we got Guyana, and we got Trinidad, and we go party and enjoy ourselves. None of we not go on no plane and go Africa. Don't talk about Africa. You don't care about Africa, brother. All of we there, so we not go Africa. Brethren, our man and woman in the military are do a wonderful thing. If anybody invade America now, we're going to look for the military to fight. So saying, we there Jamaica right now. Any country invade Jamaica, nobody at Jamaica now fight for Jamaica. We just talk a whole bunch of ish, and we don't do nothing. We are cowards. The military man them, we support them, and we respect them, because they're brave. All of we are cowards.
718-554-8598. Anyone want to jump in the conversation? I know we got about 2 minutes before we hit the top of the hour. And then when we come back on the other side, I want to kind of change the dynamics of the conversation. So the military is not going anywhere, people. I want to get your questions in, your conversations in. Me love all the phone line, them are blaze, you know? Right? Just keep that same energy.
Yes, people. Soundchat.
I'm going to take about 2 calls, and then we're going to open up the microphones again. Call you live.
Hi. Good night.
Good night.
How are you doing?
I am doing well. Now, I want to get what side of the fence you're on with the whole Army situation. Talk to me.
At this moment, I am currently undecided.
You're on the fence then?
Yes, I'm on the fence, and the reason for this is I am working in a system where I deal with veterans that come home and they're homeless. So with this, I still have a lot of questions. I have a 15-year-old that I was just talking to about career choices. The Army came up, and I was speaking to him about the outside perspective that I have on the Army, because I do not have first-hand knowledge of the system per se. However, too often I have seen too many veterans who are homeless, who are on the streets, who are seeking services, because I have to deal with them on a daily basis. So I think I need to be educated more about the Army, how they treat their servicemen and women when they leave the Army, and what are some of the benefits that they also have for these people when they go in. I have clients who struggle with mental illness, substance abuse. It's a lot, right, having to deal with these people. But I do not have first-hand knowledge of what goes on in the Army. This is perspectives that I get from people who came out. Yes, I do know people who benefited well from the Army, but I'm now currently on the fence because I'm seeing the both sides of the effect.
I'm hoping that by the end of the program you will pick a side, right? And that's what it's about, right? Picking a side. So I'm going to open the microphones to the members of the military that's in studio, and hopefully someone can address your concerns, right? The caller is on the fence because she kind of, is encountering veterans or people coming back from the Army and have kind of illnesses and mental illnesses, homelessness, and that type of stuff. So I think she said she wants to have an understanding of what that protocol and what that situation is like. So does anyone care to address that?
Yeah. So when we say the word homeless, there's few and far from relations with veterans and soldiers. It's an individual choice, because there's no one comes out of a service from the Army saying, I'm going to become homeless. Because once you serve, there's a multitude of services the Army offers to continue to help you after you have served. There's ACS, Army Community Service. And I could name a multitude to the left or the right. So that individual chose to lead that path in his life to become homeless because of his or her drive. Because as service members, we know what's good for us. So those individuals that choose to say they don't want to continue to do X, Y, and Z for the betterment of themselves and their families, take the right turn and go left, and then become homeless because of personal choices. Nothing to do with the Army at all. You agreed?
Yeah, and also we have a thing that's called Soldier for Life. Once you enter and you serve and you sign in and you serve, we take care of you for life. And like Sergeant Major Dar is saying, it's a choice. If you don't know what the programs are, there are numbers out there. There are 800 numbers that you can call, and find out these services that you can get to. And it is a personal choice. You have to reach out. Once you leave the military and you don't reach out, it's like if we can't find you, we can't help you. But we want you to come in and ask for these services because they're available. You earned them by defending the Constitution and joining the Army and fighting for us and being a part of our team. You are a soldier for life. So these services are there. So ma'am, I'm glad that you brought these questions up, and your 15-year-old son, you're having these good conversations because at 15, that's like that decision point, and that's a good segue onto how we got here on the program with Chin, because I wasn't going to come in because we're not going to reach the target audience, which are the 17, 18-year-olds. That's either in 11th to 12th grade. That's you to get into the military. So we were going to stop it, and then we thought about it and we said, no, we can get to the moms, the dads, the grandmothers, the uncles, the aunts, the influencers that can have these conversations or probably have these misnomers about the military, and we'd be able to sit here and we can say, no, this is the truth, this is the facts as we see it, as we know it, per doctrine, and we can tell you what you're saying, if it's true, if it's false, and what we've lived through and gone through, having military. I got 34 years in, and so you have about almost 100 years of service sitting in front of you that can speak the truth to some of the things that you've heard or think you know. So please, like Chin is asking, call in, ask the hard questions, and Mom, I'm proud of you for having those questions with your child and making those decisions. Because the military is a great option. I think a caller called in and stated that everything you can pay to go to college for, the military can pay you to learn it, and then we credential that particular training. If you go in and you want to be a chef, it's the 92 Golf Series, and we can credential you as a chef. So when you come out the military, you can go and become a chef, a licensed chef. You want to be a mechanic, you want to be a medic, whatever it is, the military has it. We need it. We're our own facility. When we deploy as a total unit to take care of any ailments, any situation that we encounter, we will destroy. Our job is to fight and win America's war, period. We don't lose, because when we lose, our sons and daughters are dying, right? So we don't go out to lose, we go out to fight and win. So we want to have this conversation. We want to tell you all the benefits of military service. And so please call in, and I have Retention NCO here with me, and she knows all the MOSs, military occupational skills, that you can use, that you can sign up for, and you take the test, and depending on the scoring exam, you can sign up and become a member of this great organization.
Let me go to the phone lines. Do you want to say something? Go ahead.
I would like to add something because she mentioned the mental health concerns. So the Army has definitely emphasized the encouragement of going to mental health even while you're serving. So it's not ignored. It's not discouraged at all. There's definitely an awareness with that. And we have commands that completely support soldiers who need like mental health days, or you need to take off, or whatever the case may be. Because when we deal with depression or whatever the situation is, whatever the individual may be dealing with, it more has to do with like life burdens. You know, it doesn't mean that it's all military focused. It could be family life. It could be, just dealing with so many responsibilities and not having time for self or whatever the case may be. But there are definitely services that are available while you're in service and also when you leave. And so if an individual is not having that self-accountability to seek those services, we can only make somebody do so much, you know.
What about someone who leaves the army? Well, I guess it would be dishonorable discharge.
Mhm.
Are they still taken care? Are they still looked after afterwards, or no?
There are still services that that are civilian or nonprofit organizations that support soldiers that are even dishonorably discharged, and it's just about knowing the resources. It doesn't matter what kind of discharge you have; they are out there. And what's great about it is that they're free, so they don't have to worry about insurance or paying out of pocket. But they're available. It's just knowing your resources.
It's a great conversation because you would tend to get a different perspective when you're looking at all the people who are now living homelessly. You know, the people when you say, you may pass them in your car and they have their sign and they're saying that I'm a veteran or I was in the army, and you know, you can't help to think, but the army's a messed up place. Look at this guy. You know what I mean? And I think that also plays a role on how you think, because depending on what states, because there is some states where the homelessness is even more present than other states, and a lot of those people tend to come from the military, right? So I think that the average person, that also adds to their perspective of, damn, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want my kids to be that guy, because here it is that you went and fought a war for the country, and then the country cares nothing about you afterwards. So these are some of the things, of course, that we need to speak about tonight and try to clear up. It's interesting to know that there is help for these guys, and a lot of them, as you guys are saying, is just not, decided to go another route, right? I just thought there was never any help.
Yeah, Chin. I work for Metropolitan MTA, and my commute is through Penn Station, and I work on close to that area. I won't give out exactly where I work. There are services for the city has services for homeless people, and I've watched the services go and try to say, hey, let's go. Let me take you to a shelter. It's freezing cold or it's boiling hot, and they refuse to go. So, and again, I'm not discrediting anyone's service or anything like that, but how can you prove that a person with a sign that says I'm a veteran is a veteran?
Right.
How can we prove that? And like we've all been saying, there's services, free services out there for veterans to use. So if you're a true veteran, I'm asking you, if you're hearing my voice, or if you pass a true veteran on the street, tell them there are free services out there that they can utilize. Because I see the city is trying to pick them up and take them into shelters and things like that to keep them safe out of the weather, give them some food, and their preference is to stay in the streets for whatever reasons. But I do want to get off that topic and get into where we need to discuss some of the benefits of service and things like that. So please, can we focus a little bit on why we need our Caribbean Americans, our green card holders, to see the military as an option for betterment, a better life, just a choice. I used it as my backup, to be honest, when I was going through. I'm in the reserve. I'm not active duty, and I'm not National Guard. I'm reserve. I went to college, and then the reserve for me was a great backup. So when times got hard or difficult, I can easily fall back on the military as a backup and go do some tours. Go on. I got deployed, where you go overseas or you do a mobilization, and you can use that as a resource. I'm 34 years in another 3 or 4 years I can retire with a pension, with a 401k, and with medical benefits and things like that. So as a part-time job, how many part-time jobs out there can give you these type of benefits, can set you up for success? As soon as you join, you become a leader. Employees want that. I work for the MTA, a great organization that's called, we have a partner, it's called the P3O, Professional Private Partnership, where these companies see us military as an asset to their organizations. Because they know when you get a military person, you get someone that's probably 99% drug-free, well-trained, physically fit, and can lead. And those are some of the things that corporations spend millions of dollars on, teaching people how to lead and manage. In the military, we teach people that. We pay people and teach them how to lead. Every level that we get promoted into, there's a course behind that level. You can't just go there. You have to pass a particular course to become a sergeant first class, to become a command sergeant major. And once I get here, there are other leadership courses that I need to take to stay at this level and to compete at this level and to stay competitive. Or I won't compete and I won't be part of that talent management pool that we speak about. Sir, Mr. Dar?
So the other point I'm going to add here is, as a Guyanese and as a soldier for 30 plus years, one of the things I'm going to add to that talking point is the substance of a resume. So our parents didn't choose the greatest of names for some of us as Guyanese, and I'm sure about Jamaicans and others, but we didn't have the best of names, the John Smiths or the Will Smiths or whatever. Our names were fluctuated. So when we look at our names on a resume, what else can support that name? And that's where the military helped me a great deal. So when I left and I went from high school, college, got a job, my military background was substance for me to not outdo, but to stack with other individuals that had, as some of your callers would say, go to that college route and get those, Fortune 500 company jobs. I was outbeating those individuals because of the military and the words on my resume that stated what I did in the military. So it helped me a great deal. So I would say, don't steer away from it. It's another opportunity, a boost for yourself, and especially for us as Caribbeans, it helps a great deal. We can't allow others to say they're better than us because no one's better than anybody. It's based on self-worth and self-achievement. So I would say, get after it.
I want to ask you guys this, right? Because we got so many Caribbean people listening. Why is it important for Caribbean people to understand the benefits of the military? I want you to speak to the Caribbean people now, all of them that's listening, right? Because our listenership ranges from 35 years old to about 65, 70 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So you're speaking to a variety of people right now. Don't think that you're only speaking to people 50 and over, right? As someone who's a green card holder, what is the benefit? Can I go into the military and get citizenship? What is the benefit really for Caribbean people to be part of the military?
So one of the big benefits is that you can definitely get naturalized a lot faster. And that's part of the enlistment process. The doors of opportunities that you have as far as the various job descriptions that we have available are there, for anyone to gain that experience, and basically to just discount the military is basically cutting off any sort of opportunity that you can have or your child can have to improve their lives, because that's what the military really does. It's a wonderful way to gain so much experience, and what's great about it, you don't have to stay at one field and one job. You can change your job as many times as you want until you find what's passionate, what your passion is. Of course, we have the different school benefits as well. You can go to school at any point in time. When I first enlisted, I had no plans of going to college at all. I was 17 years old. I just wanted to leave the house, to be honest. I didn't grow up thinking I wanted to join the military. I, came from a very toxic household, and my first thing was, how can I get out of here as fast as possible without ending up living out on the streets or something? So the military gave me that, what I wasn't even looking for, to be honest. And I got into the field of supply. I didn't know anything about supply. The military trains you 100%. You don't realize how much you have in you unless you're put in that position. And I think a lot of us, it doesn't matter what our background is, we often discount ourselves or discount our abilities. Maybe we don't even think we have it in us, and to allow any sort of fear to prevent that opportunity is very, it can be destructive when, great opportunities come with great risks. Mm-hmm. So you got to step out in faith or take that leap of faith, and just allow yourself to be open to those opportunities. But, getting naturalized. I've seen soldiers get their naturalization, and they're so happy, and it's so amazing to see. And we've had celebrations, in that, and the military also shows you how great our country is, and I know it's hard to see sometimes, especially with the news that's happening. It can be very discouraging, but when you have the opportunity to deploy to different locations and see different countries and see their struggles, it helps you understand and recognize how good this country really is and how good we have it here. We have, there's countries with no running water. They're living out of mud huts, basically. They have no electricity, and we're there giving communities water, getting them school bags. There's a lot of things that we do to support other countries in that way too. It's such an amazing experience that you wouldn't have otherwise. So
the phone lines are ringing. Let me go to the phone lines. Caller, you're live.
Ken.
Yes.
Greetings to the panel and to the staff there.
Greetings.
Ken.
Mm-hmm.
You have to balance this program because you need to get some ex-veterans that been through a lot. And I sit in here and I am an avid listener of talk show radio, and I am a member of BAI, WBAI, and I've listened to a lot of veterans talk show on WBAI, and I have met a lot in conference seminars. You need to balance this conversation because one thing I sit here and I wasn't going to call in, and I sat here and I hear this gentleman said, ex-veteran or homeless is their choice. That is so unfair to say, and it hurt me because that is not true. And the only way you can get the truth and let the audience of these people know what is going on is to get some ex-veteran on this program. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. And of course, you guys know my ambitions is always to just give you what you want, right? So I'm open to that. I'm open to that as well, right? 718-554-8598 if you guys are just tuning in, which you shouldn't be because class started at 8 o'clock,
yes.
right? We are talking to the military and just trying to iron out some conceptions or misconceptions. I'm trying to present to you two sides of the story here, right? I want the military to hear why you don't like them, and they're going to tell you why you should like them. That's what it's all about here, right? And some of you like them. So those of you who like them, what the message that they're putting forth, it would be a lot more easier to digest. Mm-hmm. Some of you, it might be a little harder to swallow. You might need a couple sips of water, but that's what the conversation is. This is great conversation here, people. No matter what side you're on, whether you agree with the people in the building or you don't agree with them, the goal here is to have good, enlightening conversation. One of the things that we always do is we assume. A lot of us, that's what we do. Our parents drop certain things upon we're not gonna check them out. We just live off of that. We pass the homeless on the street and we assume. And I'm not contradicting what the lady's saying at all, because maybe if a homeless person comes in here from the military, they may challenge what you guys are saying. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's great conversation, and in great conversation, we get down to the nitty-gritty of where we need to be. Call you live.
Yeah, Chin.
Yes, I am.
Hot talk to the people and the military personnel them. Military personnel. Hot talk to them. Good work. Love the work. Come here, have nothing in the military in their career right now. You hear that? Trust me. And every day I talk to you sometime, I'm afraid that the Father guide and protect him over there. You hear that? Because I know that I am working, I do. I know that when I do is honest, I earn him honest, brother. So I say, and I protect we when he's here. Because me have the heart to go there, but me give thanks to him when I have the heart can go there and protect me. You hear that? And other people here. And look now, here's some people that talk about homeless veterans. Let me tell you something, man. You don't have to be a veteran to be homeless. Life is what you make it. You hear that? Me work at DHS. And what you know, if me no work and save my money and get what I want in life, nobody gonna do it for me. And other people here work and have their money and do different things. So if you who out there say them are homeless veterans, they should have make sure that when them going to the army, they save their money, take care of their family and take care of themselves when them get old. Don't put that responsibility on the army. You know, that's your responsibility, you're not a child.
All right. All right. 718-554-8598. Phone lines are blazing. I want to open the platform, of course, to the members of the military to pretty much talk to you guys a little bit more. And then if we have time to go back to the phone lines, which seem to be lighting up, we can do so, right? So anyone that wants to say something, feel free to jump in.
CSM Betty again. The lady that called in and spoke about the veterans, the homeless veteran situation. And again, we're not here to dispel anything and make it seem like the military is a bed of roses. Like every organization, their problems and their issues, but it's dealt with. We try not to push anything under the rug. Anything comes to the forefront, it's dealt with immediately, swiftly, and we try to. So again, if you know or if you see any veterans out there that's homeless, please, there's services out there for them, and get them in there. So back to why we're here. We're here to tell the Army story, to tell the reason why this is a great opportunity. I had great conversation with my sister, Shantae, and she had me, and with the conversation, that's how we ended up here. Where we had the conversation, and I said, hey, I need a platform where I can speak to the Caribbean people, and get the word out that this is a great option for us, because growing up, I grew up in my mom did the best she could to get me here. Then my grandparents took it over and raised me as best they could. Back then, I thought my grandparents made hundreds of thousands of dollars. They didn't. They made about maybe 20 grand a year back in the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we never missed a meal. We never missed a meal. It wasn't a grand meal, but we had something to eat. So joining the military for me was a way to make sure that I didn't stress them out trying to figure out how to put me through college, how to make me get out there and learn a trade or learn a way to make a living and to be better than. They brought me here from Jamaica to America for a better life. Jamaica is not a bad life, but there's more opportunities here in America for us to explore and be all you can be, right? So we came here. I had the opportunity. I had a soccer scholarship at Iona College. I went there. I lost the scholarship, fell back on Army GI Bill, and helped me paid for my college, right? I came out of the college zero debt. That was a $50,000 a year college, and I came out zero debt. So these are the things why we're saying to our Caribbean people, if you have the money to go to college, go to college. But if you don't have the money and you need to vocational is a great thing, right? We teach a lot of vocational skills in the Army. And there's a lot of MOS's, military operational skills, that you can pursue for free. We will pay you to get this. You ship. The bonuses right now are off the chain. It's about $40,000.
Yep, quick ship.
To sign up to get out. And if you quick ship, you get additional funds just to ship, right? So there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of ways to make money to get out. If you're in a situation, if you're in a rut, and you need to get your life on the right track, this is a great opportunity for anyone, any race, any nationality, not just Caribbean people, right? But I'm just speaking from where I came from. I came from where the money wasn't there. The money wasn't there, but the GI Bill was there. It was always there. Every month I got a check. And I was the one kid in school that can go down and buy some good food and not just eat from the cafeteria or off a meal card. So it's an option, it's an opportunity. And again, I just want to say, give it a chance. If you need more literature, we have the World Wide Web. Go out there and do a search on military opportunities, and you will see a plethora of information that you can feed from. And it's a great opportunity for our kids to go. I have 3 kids. One is 28. I got 24, and I have a 15. None of them have any interest in the military. The 15-year-old is thinking about it, and the other 2 didn't. But guess what? The military helped me pay for their college. They came out of college debt-free because I had the GI Bill, the post 9/11 GI Bill, and it paid for their college to get them through. So they started their professional lives without a debt, without a debt. So all that's because of the military. So it's a great opportunity. Think about it. Yes, we are here to sell the military as an opportunity. But again, we're going to defend the military. That's we're in the military, and we're defending you, the citizens of the United States, right? That's what we're here for. All right. So I want to pass it off to my colleagues and see if they have anything else to say.
Yeah, I would just like to add, I know there's a lot of kids out there that are thinking about just going to school. And even if you go to school, there's JROTC. So that means you don't have to enlist right away. So the military will pay for you to go to college, and you pretty much just enroll in that program in your local university. They should have a ROTC program. It pays up to a 4-year degree, and it's just you coordinating. And after you finish your school, you enlist and you serve. And what's great is that you come out as an officer and you're making even more, as a soldier. So we have Army Reserves, we have active duty. If you're not wanting to do it full time, you don't have to do that. And that's where the Army Reserves is such a great benefit, because it allows you kind of to test the waters in a sense. You go to basic, you go to your training for whatever job you choose to go into, and then you get to come home. And then the only time you come in and do Army stuff is one time a month. And then of course there's the 2 weeks a year. But the rest of the time you're working your civilian job, and you're still getting all the benefits of the Army. You're still getting the tuition assistance for college if you want to go further, and also post 9/11, if you go on active orders for a 90 days period, you'll get that too, and you can also transfer it to your kids. So there's so many different benefits that are available to you and to your family, especially if you just want to change. Like you're kind of you're where you are, you want to do something different. Maybe you got kind of sick of your job that you're in right now. I'm full-time Army Reserve right now, but before I was managing travel, finance travel, and it got really boring for me, to be honest. And I realized, I'm doing all this work and not getting half the benefits I would be getting if I just decided to do this full-time. So, and that's what I did. And my job is waiting for me when I get back by law. They have to hold it for 5 years.
Hold your job.
They have to hold. Okay.
And I still get my promotions on my civilian side and everything.
I'm looking here on the WhatsApp, right? And I just read a couple questions, right? And I'll WhatsApp people linking because they're in different parts of the world and they can't call, right? It's too expensive. One person is asking, what is the best age to join the military? That's one question that I got. What's the best age?
The age is at 17 with a parental consent. But also, there's a new program for future soldiers, right? If you just want to test the waters, you don't have to be in the military, because the truth of the fact is, not everyone can join the Army, right? They can't pass the physical exam or take the physical test. We have now what's called the ACFT, Army Combat Fitness Training. Not everybody can pass it. So I think it's 1 in every 6 American can actually enlist. It can actually sign up and enlist and go through that process. So we have there's a new program out that's called Future Soldiers, where you can test the waters and see if you can make it. Let's say you take the test and you didn't pass the test, or you went to do the physical stuff and you couldn't do it. They can train you up and get you ready so that when it's time for you to take the actual real test, you've been trained up. It's like a pre-course to join the Army. So that's out there too. That's something for maybe the 15, 16-year-olds can get into and try at that to see if, hey, is this the direction I want to go? Or the 17, 18-year-olds who just aren't ready,
Right.
in education-wise or physically fit-wise or medical-wise. They can join this program, see if it's for them, and then when they're ready to go, they can go. So, Mr. Dar?
So you heard all the good talking points about what the Army has internally. I want to touch one word: pride. So for me, and I'm sure for many others in the Caribbean community, Trinidadians, Haitians, Jamaicans, Guyanese, a sense of pride means a lot for our country to be serving for this great nation. For myself as a Guyanese, when I walk into a room for my stature, and I said, wow, what a self-accomplishment, not just for myself, but for my country, to be representing my people at this level, that I'm here in this group in a form of leaders from all over. I'm representing my country. So to me, pride means a lot. You walk into a household, a Caribbean household, and you see your accolades and all your "I love me" stuff on your walls that you have accomplished. You can do it. We're no different than anyone else, right? So I'm reaching out to all the listeners from whatever geographical nation you're from. Go out and represent your flag. Be noticed.
Are you guys proud Caribbean people in the Army? Meaning that do your colleagues know that you're from the Caribbean, or is it kind of just everybody just blends in?
I'm glad you asked that. This past was it Labor Day, with the parade in Brooklyn, I posted a picture of my daughter and I on the website. We have a Facebook page, and we had Jamaican T-shirts on, and it said CSM Betty and his daughter Ryan is celebrating their culture. So we don't forget our culture, and the Army doesn't want us to forget our culture, right? They embrace that. They embrace all the cultures and everything else. So just like CSM Dar just said, it's a proud feeling. Like my mom is listening, and I know she's proud. She's proud to see our son sitting here speaking about the struggles we went through and where we're at, right? We're not rich people, but we're comfortable, right? We can provide 3 meals a day, and we can go on a vacation here and there and everything else. So we never forget our culture. Everyone knows I'm Jamaican because I actually can run a little fast. So
you're used to both the thing.
Exactly.
All right.
So they know. So I don't know. I got soldiers out in Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, listening. I got soldiers in Minneapolis at Fort Snelling listening. And big ups to all of them. And I appreciate all that you guys do for us. I got my boss listening, Major General Baker. He's listening, right? And that's the 2-star general at 12 o'clock at night. He's up because he knows how important this is to get the word out about the military and the need for talented people to join our ranks.
That was another question. Someone wants to know if any of you are in charge of other soldiers.
What number?
If you could give them an idea.
For me, I'm an RD CSM. My immediate soldiers is about 600, but my responsibility is 52,000 soldiers over 19 states. My job as an RD CSM and my boss is to make sure soldiers have the capability to fight and win America's war. That means they have the classrooms, they have the space, the gyms to stay fit. They have the areas to take the ACFT, the Army Combat Fitness Test, and anything they need to make sure they're successful, so that when we are called up to go to war, we're ready and we're fit and we can fight and win America's war. That's my job as an RDCM. I have 19 states that I have to make sure is ready and capable to train America's soldiers to fight and win.
And you said 52,000.
52,000 soldiers we're responsible for.
Right.
But it's really, I have 600 within my
direct
division. Immediate. Him on the other, Sergeant Major Dar on the other hand, you can speak your.
So for myself and my colleagues in my organization, we manage all the schoolhouses for the Army, and total footprint throughout the map from California to New York, we have about 3,200 soldiers right now that we manage on a day-to-day basis, and it gets to be a little cumbersome at times, but it's a little challenging. But the rewards at the end is beyond reproach. It's amazing, the feeling of the help that you give to not just the soldiers but the families that come along with that, right? Because we all talk about the soldiers here, the soldiers.
And not to cut you off, CSM, but also I'll never want to forget our civilians.
Correct.
We do have civilians. They're called DA civilians that support us, that we can't live. They're mostly our continuity, because we'll come and go. I have a tenure, a 3-year tenure. After 3 years, I got to find a new home or get out of the Army at this level, right? Sergeant First Class, she has a tenure also, and then she has to move on. It's called PCSing to another location. And the same through CS and DAR, we have 3-year tenures. But our civilians, they are the continuity. They are the gel that keeps it together, so that when the new, we call us green suiters, come in, they can fill us in and fill that gap until we get up and running. It takes a month, a week or two, and then we're up and running and move forward. So our DA civilians are paramount to military success, and family members, of course.
Can I ask a question? CSM Betty, when you're interacting with, because as you say, you're dealing with, 600 direct soldiers, right? So that must be a vast array of different people and stuff like that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so do you find that people who may be of Caribbean descent, Jamaican or whatever, are able to kind of relate to you and seeing you there in the position you're in? Does it give them, because I mean, that might be something that people would be wondering going into an organization like the Army, the military, if they would know people like them who can kind of understand them, have a reason with them, relate to them, that kind of thing.
Oh, of course. And it's a beautiful thing when I walk into a space, like I walk into one of his classrooms, one of his schoolhouses, and I'll speak at a graduation, or I'll speak to the class and just see how they're doing and making sure that the facility, it can facilitate his instructor's teaching. I'll have students run out to the hallway and be like, "Oh my God, how did you get to where you got to?" Right. And then and that right there, I'll tell my wife, this is the reason I serve, so that Jamaicans, black people, can see that it's possible for us to get to these levels.
Right.
And again, the process is not. We have something in the Army it's called Foundational Day, where when we had all the situations happening throughout the country with George Floyd and everything else, we had foundation, and we spoke our truths. We came together, black, white, pink, purple. We all came together and we sat in a room and we spoke about it. And we had to and it's an ongoing thing now where we meet on several days and we speak about our truths and so that way all the diverse the false truths, I would say, or the truths, they'll come out and we will deal with them directly. We don't hide behind anything.
Right.
We'll bring it to the forefront, and we'll have the hard conversations. And people might not like it, but it's a hard conversation.
Right.
And we're not afraid to have those hard conversations, especially at our level. We have to have those hard conversations.
That's what
and again, with the Caribbean and so just seeing us in this position, it gives them hope. Gives them hope to say, hey, it's possible, and it is possible.
I don't know if the next question is possible. But someone doesn't understand the ranking of a soldier, so they're asking, what is the ranks? Like, what's the low rank and what's the high rank? I guess they're trying to figure out where you guys fall on the rank line, right? How is that possible to describe, or is there just too much ranks?
No. Nope. It's very simple. So in your typical elementary school, you have a timeline, right? It starts at 0 and it goes to the right, and that number could be to infinity, right? So just like in the enlisted ranks, like Cecil and Betty mentioned, we are enlisted soldiers, right? So that rank will start at E1. And then from E1, you work your promotions to the right, and you count the numbers all the way up to where we are currently, right? We are at E9. But in E9 in the Army, I'm going to speak of our two levels here really quickly. Our level where we are sitting is a command sergeant major. And that word command means that we are commanding something. So you could also have an E9 that's called a sergeant major. That person will work in a staff section. Right? They won't have that command title, so not making the decisions for the whole organization as a whole. So as you progress through from that timelines, there's schoolings that was mentioned that gives you the benefit to get to that next level. So we call it time in grade, time in service. Once you make those requirements, as long as you meet those two criteria, and there's other things that go along with it, prerequisites, I use that word, then you're eligible to go to that next level. So everything is based off of, again, self-growth, self-want, to move to that next level. Right. Nothing is ever handed to anyone in the military. You have to work towards it. Just like with any corporation out there, we're just another corporation. We're just another company out there, right? So,
and to put it in perspective, I think there's 16 or 26. I'm not sure the number. 2-star CSMs in the entire. So I'm one off 16.
In the whole
in the entire
inside
Army
the organization,
reserves, not the entire Army.
Army reserves.
There's 3 components to the Army. There's Compo 1, which is active duty, Compo 2, which is the National Guard, and Component 3, which is the Army Reserve that we belong to. And within the Army Compo 3, I'm I would say top 16 of the command, the E9s within the organization.
Right.
So that if that helps the caller to put in perspective of our levels. And our level of responsibility to the service. That's where we are.
I think they're trying to size you up.
I'm a
I'm
7.
And it makes sense. And do you want to explain your position?
Yeah, absolutely. So my position is a bit unique because I'm a career counselor. So I do not have soldiers that fall directly under me. I support about 7 different military units. So CSM Betty, his units is one of the ones that I support in a retention capacity. So I speak to the soldiers about reenlisting, their bonuses, their benefits, and also the IR soldiers. So there's actually soldiers that are inactive as well. They don't drill, they don't work. They're kind of taking a break from the military. So that's an option for them. But we also reach out to them. And also discuss benefits and possibly coming back. So I'm part of 8th Battalion Army Reserve Careers Division, and we're kind of just dedicated to the Army Reserve soldiers and making sure that they know what's available to them and guiding their careers to the path that fits their needs and their family needs.
Okay.
The phone lines are blazing.
Yes.
Before I went to the phone lines, I wanted to get a little bit more familiar with you guys. I don't know if there's anything else you want to put out there before I take another caller, because once I open this phone line, you guys ain't going to get a chance to talk.
Yeah, just if there's a need for us to come back, that is possible, because again, 2 hours might not be enough time for us to get the point across. But I think this is a great start, and I appreciate the time and getting us into your program, Chin. It's appreciated. The military appreciates it, because we need to get the word out that we're here and we're available. And there's a recruitment number. There's an 877 number that you can call if there's any interest, or you need further explanation or have additional questions, and you won't get in touch with us. And trust me, Chin won't know the answer. so the number, the 877 number is 877-227-9436. So that's 877-227-9436. If you wanna join that mom with the 15-year-old, you can call up and get some points, get some point of views. Ask about that futures program. Ask about how if my kids are on the fence, if you're on the fence, if you can test the waters. Just test the water and see what it's all about. Trust me, if you test the waters, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, because the benefits are for life. And it's something that you're just gonna love. So test the waters.
I think this was an excellent program today. I definitely love the information, and it challenges both sides of the fence, right?
Definitely.
So as the caller said, it's a little incomplete, because she wants us to, talk to the homeless or talk to the veterans, and maybe we'll be able to explore that as well. But at least it gives you a lot more insight on what the Army's offering, and those of us who grew up with that whole cultural belief that, me now send my pitney gun in the Army for go fight nobody war. You know what I mean? One of the callers went all the way back to Muhammad Ali, right? Just to show you how we still have been bringing the past present in some of the decisions that we've been making. I am going to say things and times have changed, and I think that in order to know what's wrong, you have to understand why it's wrong. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of us just say that something is wrong, but we don't really understand why, right?
Exactly.
It's the same thing why I started the conversation asking, what does the Bob Marley song say? You know what I mean? We dance to it, we sing it. What does he say? You know what I mean? And there's still different perspectives in the interpretation of that song. You know what I mean? Phone lines, of course, blazing. We got 4 minutes left. Any final words?
So when we look at the accolades for soldiers, it doesn't end just there, right? So for everyone that's on the call, listening on the chat lines, when you see a service member, it doesn't hurt to say thank you. But the thank you is not just for that service member. It's for the families. It's for the husbands, the wives, the children, because they're all in support of that soldier. So again, when you see someone, a little token of appreciation. We don't need accolades to be who we are, right? But we are fighting for a greater cause. There's a number that's out there, and I'll use it. It's less than 1%. So less than 1% of the population takes that oath to join the Army. Less than 1% make it to the rank of CSM in the Army, right? So a lot goes into that. So again, we're not here to try to promote. If you get a caller or you get a text or a message to say I want to join, we don't get a raise, we don't get a bonus, right? It's for the good of the nation, right? So I would say that for those that have families, that have members that are serving, take a minute and say thank you.
All right, and before we end, I want to do something on the air for the two soldiers that came on, Sergeant Jadar and Sergeant First Class. Right. This is called a challenge coin. This is from my organization, the 88th Readiness Division. Right. This is what's called a 2-star coin. Right. So on behalf of myself and my boss, Major General Baker, I want to say thank you for coming on and helping us out.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I know one second. They are in the military, so they can receive that coin, right? You guys can't because you're not in the military. So it's another benefit. If you want to get a coin, sign up.
Oh, so I can get a coin.
Sign up.
I was gonna ask them. I know we only got 2 minutes left.
Yes,
That was I want to know what that means to you guys. What you just got? What does it mean to you guys as soldiers?
So, like, I'm taken back. So not only is this individual a senior to me, he's a friend of mine, right? And these things are not a dime a dozen, right? So you take the time and you give those to people that are deserving of that. So thank you. I appreciate it. So it means a lot coming from a leader of that level.
Yep. And for me, it definitely makes me feel appreciated. So this is definitely one of those things that, and as CSM Dar said, it's not given often. So it just makes me feel appreciated.
we gotta go, people. We got
we have less than a
30
few
seconds
seconds.
left. Thank you guys so much. You want to say
Thanks for
something?
having us.
Yeah, man, and
Thank you.
coming as a son of a Marine, just want to say thank you for your service because I understand. I also understand a lot of the things that you guys are up against, and but thanks. That's all I keep saying.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for calling
Thanks
in. It
for
was
having
a
us.
wonderful show.